Okay, let's try this again. Sorry about that. We had some buffering problems, so I had to turn the stream off and shut the computer down and then reboot it. And never had this problem before, but recently I had to download the new OS for the computer for because of reasons I couldn't stream with the old one anymore, so I had to upgrade according to Apple. But ever since I upgraded to the new OS, I've had all sorts of problems with it. The damn thing freezes up at least twice a week now, and now they're having buffering problems with streaming for some reason. I don't know why. The old one worked fine. Never had a problem with it until I upgraded. Now is problems all the time. So that's stupid. But yeah, can you guys hear me? I just turned it off and restarted it, so it should be okay now. That tends to fix the problem. So I guess we can just start again. Get 2 season finales to talk about. And I'm sorry, all the comments, previous comments got deleted. Just not really something I can help. Okay, let's start again, and hopefully the problem should be fixed now. All right. Last Flash episode of the season, and then I'm free. Let's just get this over with. So, The Flash, Season 3, Episode 23, Season Finale. Finish Line is the title. And some of you are just going to hear me kind of repeat what I said in the previous one, which is now deleted, so this is for, people who tune in afterward. So, like many of us were predicting, this episode wastes no time, really no time at all, in doing a gigantic takeback on killing Iris by explaining how HR and Iris switched places with them using that holographic face changer doohickey that they used when they were breaking into Argus. So in the biggest fucking cop-out you're going to see in any show this season, Iris is alive and HR is dead. So this really fucks up Savitar's plan, because for him to live, Iris has to die. And now he's on the clock to get his shit done before he fades out of existence. So he threatens to kill Killer Frost to get Cisco to modify the speed bazooka gizmo to splice him through time and space so the time paradox doesn't rub him out or something. I don't know. We'll just pretend that makes sense because comic books. I thought the whole thing was kind of up in the air now because the more you time travel, the less the rules apply to you. But no, it's a certainty now again. So we'll just pretend that makes sense and move on. Anyway, back at Star Labs, Julian shows up. Hey, where the fuck were you last episode, dude? So he shows up after mysteriously disappearing last week with no explanation, and he presents the cure for Caitlin, which he and Caitlin's mom cooked up entirely off-screen. And Barry decides that maybe what Savitar needs is just someone to be nice to him. So after Savitar murdered HR, Barry meets up with him and offers to help him stay alive, instead of simply waiting a few hours for him to blink out of existence. So yeah, fuck you, HR. We're just gonna do a solid for the guy who murdered you, because that's how important you were to us, HR. Yeah. So anyway, Savitar almost seems to go for this. And they try to pull on our heartstrings a little. They tried pulling on our heartstrings by trying to make us feel bad for him. And it's every bit as nauseating as it sounds. But he reverts to form pretty quickly, and he has Killer Frost shoot him with the speed bazooka thing, which he had Cisco modify. And instead of turning him into a speed god like he intended, it just frees Jay Garrick from the Speed Force, because Savitar didn't bother to test it first, just in the event that the guy who had every reason in the world to screw him over decided to screw him over. It didn't seem to occur to him that this might happen. Because Savitar came from Barry, and therefore Savitar is a fucking dumbass. Then there's a big fight with everybody involved, and Killer Frost saves Cisco from getting killed by Savitar, even though she herself just tried to kill Cisco a few minutes prior. And it ends with Barry pushing Savitar out of his armor, and Iris shoots him, and he's dead. They have a funeral for HR. Killer Frost decides not to take the antidote, because I guess the writers figured that if they were taking a boring way out with every other storyline, they should probably try to do something interesting with at least one of these characters. But in true Flash fashion, it was still really stupid. Then, right when Barry and Iris are talking about wedding invitations, another world-ending calamity starts. Because apparently we just can't have a Flash season finale without one of these things happening. It's just like a rule that you have to have all this stuff in every season finale of The Flash now. And the only way to stop it is that Barry has to go back into the Speed Force before it blows up the Earth or something, because there has to be a speedster prisoner in there for the Speed Force not to go crazy for some reason. But he's the main character, so it's a good bet that he'll be fine. Okay. The elephant in the room. Iris is not dead after all. Well, I fucking knew they wouldn't have the balls to go through with that, so I expected them to pull a fast one and take that back. What bugs me so much about this is how quickly and easily the whole thing happened. They reveal that Iris is alive and HR took her place in the freaking cold open. It's quickly brushed aside, and then the whole Iris is going to die plot is not even an issue anymore. Like Savitar couldn't just try to kill her again or something. That's pretty fucking cheap. Okay, if you're gonna tease the death of a major character for most of the season, and then make it look like it's actually happened, and then take it back in the very next episode, don't do it so quickly that you reveal the whole thing as a blatant bait and switch. When you do that, you expose that making it look like Iris was dead was only done for shock value. Which it was, essentially. You know what would have been so much better than this? Alright, look, here. I'll write a better finale right now, okay? They still do the HR switch, but this time, HR and Iris don't reveal that they switched. Because they think Savitar still wants Iris dead, and until he's neutralized, he's still a threat. He could still be going after Iris, because he thinks, well, in order for me to live, she has to die, so he could still try to kill her. So they think it's safer for Iris if they just remain switched and don't let anyone know that the switch happened. So she's still impersonating HR at this point, even though the real HR impersonating Iris is now dead. So everyone still believes that Iris is dead. The rest of the episode proceeds more or less like it did. You can make changes here and there or whatever. Savitar is defeated somehow, not really important how. Then the Speed Force starts going crazy. Somebody has to go into it because reasons. Jay Garrick offers to go back into it because this world needs the Flash or whatever. But Barry is like, no, this was my fault. This is all happening because of me. It's my responsibility. It should be me. This world will be okay. They've got Wally. Wally can be the Flash. This is my fault. I've got to fix this. Besides, with Iris dead, I've got no reason to go on living. I don't want to be here anymore anyway, so let me go out doing this one thing right. I made a huge fucking mess of things. Let me fix the mess that I created. So, after Barry agrees to be the one to go into the Speed Force, some kind of binding agreement is struck with the Speed Force. So he's committed. No turning back. He has to go now. He can't get out of it. And it's only then that Iris reveals that her and HR switch places. So, after Barry has just basically given up and committed to sacrificing himself because Iris was gone, suddenly it turns out she's actually alive. But now he has to go anyway. So he has her. He sacrificed himself because he thought she was dead. And then she's alive, but he has to go. So he has her back for one moment, and then he has to go anyway. Or, if you really wanted to twist the knife like a lot, you could have it be so Iris doesn't reveal that she's alive until after Barry goes into the Speed Force. Now, I don't know why she would wait so long to reveal it. Maybe she got knocked unconscious or something and she missed that part, but... Like, so Barry, like, dies thinking that Iris was dead. Now she's back, but he's gone, not even knowing that she's alive. Wouldn't that be a juicier cliffhanger to go out on? See, it's things like this that bother me so much about this episode. How at almost every single turn, the writers didn't necessarily make the worst decisions or the most asinine decisions. They just made the lazy decisions. Case in point, HR's death. Alright, first of all, I called this one months ago. I said it. Alright, I said this would be the safe choice, the easy choice. They can just kill HR, and then they'll go into the multiverse and pull out another Harrison Wells, because that seems to be the pattern. That's what they do every season now. So it'll be like they sort of killed somebody, but the audience still gets to stay in their safe place, because they didn't really have to kill him, because we still got the same actor, and he's still playing a version of Harrison Wells. It's just a slightly different version. So everybody gets to stay in their comfortable little spot, and nobody gets triggered, or nobody feels like there are microaggressions being thrown at them, or whatever the fuck. Because having actual stakes in a TV show is for chumps, apparently. And that's pretty much exactly what they did. Lo and behold. HR's body isn't even fucking cold before they bring back Harry. So here's another Harrison Wells. So it's like HR never died at all. Just like when they killed Barry's dad and then immediately introduced Jay Garrick, who Barry will end up having a similar relationship with, who's played by the same fucking actor, who's a doppelganger for Barry's dad, so it's like Barry's dad never really died at all. Because God forbid we have important deaths that resonate with the audience. I am so sick and tired of this kid gloves crap. If you're gonna kill a major character, own that shit. Don't kill them and then instantly bring them back just in a different coat of paint. Much like the bait and switch with Iris's death, it's nothing but a big fucking cop-out. But at least they didn't pull a cop-out on absolutely everything. And I guess here's where I have to give the show a tiny bit of credit. The Caitlyn story, while completely ill-conceived and full of ridiculous plot holes that you could pick apart all day long, it still made no sense at all, but at least the Caitlyn story didn't take the easy way out. They actually did go in a more interesting direction with her. The problem is they did it stupidly. And Julian finds a cure for Caitlyn, and he does it off camera. Off camera. You fucking kidding me? After all this time. After all, like, the dread that you've tried to build up about Caitlyn turning into Killer Frost. After all, like, the emotional turmoil she's gone through trying to find a cure. You finally have one, and you do it off, and you find it off screen. For fuck's sake. Anyway, Cisco has her defeated. All he has to do is knock her unconscious and inject her with the stuff. But he chooses to give her the syringe and let her decide for herself. Which is utter horseshit. Okay, why the fuck are you banking on her making the right decision in this situation, even though the powers have made her insane, when none of that is even fucking necessary? Just knock her out and inject her with the stuff. This isn't complicated. Why are you leaving this to chance? Why are you turning your back to her when she literally just tried to kill you a few minutes ago? You fucking dumbass! Now, because these writers are stupid, she actually does end up having a change of heart anyway, and doesn't kill him when he turns his back to her. Like, she could have just, like, stabbed him with an icicle or whatever. No, she actually chooses not to kill her. But she decides to not take the antidote. And they just accept this and let her walk away. They accept it and let her walk away. Why? 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 Fucking force her to take the injection! Fucking put the power dampening cuffs on her! Why are you letting her walk away? This is bullshit! I mean, okay, sure. She's acting nicer right now, but she could relapse pretty fucking easily, just like that. Why in the bluest of blue fucks are they honoring her wishes when they hammered into us ever since she went over to the dark side that she is not in her right mind anymore? Okay, this isn't the same thing as Daisy letting Mac stay in the framework because he didn't want to leave his daughter. Okay, Mac was more or less the same person he was in the real world, and worst case scenario, if things turn to shit, the only one who gets hurt is Mac. This is different. Here, you have a woman who's not in her right mind, who cannot be trusted to make rational decisions in this state, who's already tried to kill multiple people, all because of this problem that she has that you have a fucking cure for. You're not honoring her wishes, you're allowing a dangerous, mentally ill person to continue to stay dangerous and mentally ill due to circumstances beyond her control when she doesn't have to be. When this is all easily preventable. I mean, so the fuck what if she doesn't want to... So what if she doesn't want to take the antidote? Who cares? So the fuck what? She can't make decisions for herself in this condition, especially when she's one bad day away from going nuts and turning everyone within 100 feet of her into a fucking ice cube. You let Killer Frost walk away today. Suppose she relapses tomorrow and goes on a killing spree because evil! From now on, every person that she hurts or kills is Team Flash's fault. Because they have the means to easily cure her, but they're choosing not to because they're fucking stupid. And yet, I actually do like that they're not just paying a visit to the Deus Ex Machina fairy and retconning this problem away, because Caitlin having to live with this is a lot more interesting than simply taking the cure and having Killer Frost not be a thing anymore. And finally, Caitlin is getting an interesting storyline with some layers to it that doesn't involve her love interest dying or turning evil or whatever. So I like the end result, I just can't fucking stand how they got there. And it's so frustrating because there was a really easy way to do this right. We all know what it is. Caitlin takes the cure, and it just doesn't work. Then to plug that plot hole, they try the power dampening cuffs. But the cure had some kind of weird side effect on her, like it mutated her in some way, and now the powers just make the cuffs short circuit or something. So those cuffs are not an option anymore. That way, Caitlin is stuck like this against her will, but because she's a tragic victim, not because everyone around her is just being a fucking dumbass. And then... and then we come to the ending. If there's a saving grace in this episode, this was it. Because after 2 season finales in a row, where Barry idiotically, selfishly, endangered the entire human race, literally the entire human race, because he just refused to grow the fuck up and make the tough decision, for once, Barry actually does the grown-up thing. The world is in danger. This is all happening because of him. He needs to act like a fucking man for once in his miserable life, actually act like the superhero he's supposed to be, and make the tough choice. Do the responsible thing, and he actually does it. He sacrifices his own life, his own happiness, to finally, at long last, fix his fucking mess. No one bails him out at the last minute. No one lets him off the hook. There's a price to be paid, and he pays it. Now, this won't stick, of course, and he'll probably be back on Earth by the Season 4 premiere. So, any consequences being paid here probably will not be lasting, and any impediment to this god-awfully boring-ass Barry-Iris relationship will most likely be easily resolved. But at the very least, this finale went out on Barry doing something selfless for a change, instead of him being genocidally stupid. I just wish I had even a tiny bit of faith that this development would be a lasting one, and not one they'll just retcon away the next time they need Barry to scorch all the earth around him. Sadly, I know what show this is, so I really don't. Well, this was better than the finales for seasons 1 and 2. Granted, that's not saying much, since those 2 finales were so insultingly awful I wanted to send every single one of the writers a dead skunk in the mail. Yes, this finale was an improvement, not because it was good, but because it was just less horrible. It only succeeds on some level because the previous 2 finales set the bar so fucking low that not reaching it would have been downright impossible. But make no mistake, there may have been 1 or 2 things I appreciated about this finale, but at the end of the day, it was still pretty fucking lame because of all the usual shit that I've been over 1,000,000 times. And with that, at long last, Season 3 of The Flash is over. Thank fucking Christ. Okay. Must be said that in just 3 weeks they made fans care about HR and Tracy more than they did Barry and Iris in 3 seasons. I guess. I still thought that the whole Tracy HR thing was... It didn't really land for me. I liked the idea of them together, but again, it was only like 3 episodes, so I wasn't like broken up when HR died, because I kind of figured it was all going to happen this way. And then she was like, "Oh, you killed my future! Really? You were already planning a future with this guy you've known for a cup of coffee?" It all felt really artificial. If we had more than 3 episodes with HR and Tracy, interacting, I think it would have. I think it would have hit me harder. As it is, I saw what they were going for, but I didn't buy it, because really it's just 3 episodes. How much of an emotional connection can you develop in such a short amount of time? Let's see. Did Barry mess with your feed? No, he had buffering problems because this new OS is crap. Hopefully it won't be a problem again. I actually thought it would be Caitlin that would die. I saw a spoiler photo and everyone was at her funeral except her, but it was Earth 1 Harry, not HR. Yeah. Kind of sneaky the way they did that. Yeah. Thoughts on the Game of Thrones trailer? I'm excited. I think it's doesn't really show us too much. I was a little annoyed that there weren't any shots of Jon and Daenerys interacting, because I've been waiting a long time to see those 2 actually do something together. Because they've never, in like, what, we're in season 6 now? They've never even had a scene together. It's kind of like Apollo and Number 6 in Battlestar Galactica. I think the entire series, they were only in the same scene once. It's like, oh, I kind of want to see these 2 interact, but it's just, when is it going to happen, I guess they're saving that. Because it's probably going to be a big moment. But yeah, cool trailer. Typical teaser fashion, it doesn't really show us that much. Just gives us an idea of what the story is. I'm excited for it, though. I thought Caitlyn's powers making her evil was all in her head. It also explains why there was never a scientific reason for why they could just make her evil. Beats me, man. There's been they never offered up any kind of explanation. It's just the powers make her evil because. Even that right there was probably more explanation than the show gave us. So your guess is as good as mine. I don't know what's going on there. The original article written by Iris West Allen states that Arrow, Hawkgirl, and Atom teamed up, but there was an explosion. Could that be where Savitar and Barry's fate? be where Savitar Berry's face got burned. I guess. No, if it was written by Iris West Allen, no, because that I guess that his face would have gotten burned after she died, wouldn't it? Oh, who the hell knows? Did they make a joke about Cisco about the Thong song? I don't remember. I don't recall. I've been hard on Cisco this season, but he was the one who saved the day by tricking Savitar into thinking he fixed the speed bazooka when he really didn't. Yeah, it's kind of stupid. Like you forced this guy to modify the speed bazooka under duress by threatening to kill his friend, and then you don't even test it first to make sure he didn't screw you over in some way. He had it's. I guess you have to give Cisco credit. They used Barry Allen's stupidity against him. Because like any halfway intelligent person would have tested the damn thing first to make sure it worked properly. Now Savitar doesn't even bother. Cisco knows Barry very well. Thoughts on the female wrestler named Viper? I don't really have any. I'm not really familiar with her work. I know of her. I saw her appearance on British Bootcamp 2. That's about it. So I don't really have any thoughts on Viper. I guess as Tracy will replace all the Wells as the science thinker of the team. And possibly. I was under the impression that they just have Harry stick around this time. Or maybe she'll be the new Caitlyn. And Caitlyn will be bumped back to recurring status or something. They'll just bring her in whenever they need Killer Frost to do some stuff. I would be surprised if that was the last we saw of Tracy, though. I kind of like her, so that's fine. Game of Thrones still gets higher ratings with the stakes, but The Flash does not get the same ratings despite being on network TV. Yeah, well, that's hardly a fair comparison. Game of Thrones is on HBO, and The Flash is on the CW. Yeah, it's apples and oranges. The two things are not the same. So it's not really fair to compare viewership figures. Have you played Injustice 2? No, I have not. Caitlyn must really hate Team Flash to decide this. Can you blame her? I hate Team Flash, and I just watch these people. She has to actually work with them. You watch McGregor's YouTube channel. I didn't know he had one. That's news to me. KM is not a liar. He's an untruther. Game of Thrones trailer got 21 million views in 2 days. Holy shit. Wow. Okay. Top 5 favorite comic book films of all time. God, I never have a good answer to these. Top 5 favorite comic book films of all time. Oh, jeez. Wow. Batman Begins, Dark Knight. I think you got to put Civil War in there. Maybe Winter Soldier. Maybe Tim Burton's original Batman. Not in any particular order. I'm really bad at doing these things off the top of my head. Maybe if you gave me a while to think of it, I might come up with a better answer. Maybe the original X-Men, just because I'd waited my whole life to see a live-action X-Men movie. So I got a special place in my heart for that one. I don't know. I need time to think about it. Come up with a more articulate answer to that one. Alright, again, let's try to stay on topic here, guys, because ADD here. Alright. Please save off-topic stuff for the end. So let's move on to Arrow at this point. X-Men Days of Future Past? No, not really. And I liked it, but it's kind of spent on Wolverine at that point. It's like to see him as like this Wolverine infringing on the X-Men's movie again. Okay. Also, when the hell did Kitty Pryde get send your brain back in time powers? That came out of nowhere. Anyway, Arrow. Episode 5, Season 5, Episode 23, Season 5 finale, Lian Yu. Oliver puts his makeshift team together consisting of Malcolm Merlyn, Nyssa, Slade Wilson, who agreed to help him really easily, and also Captain Boomerang is in there too. So they go to fight Prometheus' team of Black Siren, Artemis, Talia, and some goons left over from the from the League of Assassins. That's how you knew he was done for. So there are a few fake-outs with Slade Wilson pretending to join the bad guys' side, only to turn the tables. They actually fall for that twice, both times. Oliver frees his friends, but they find out that Adrian has somehow rigged the entire island with C4 that will go off if he dies. And this builds up to Oliver and Adrian on a boat where Adrian is going to kill Oliver's son if Oliver doesn't kill him, but if Oliver kills him, the island blows up and all his friends are dead. So naturally, Oliver just shoots to wound. He saves William, but then Adrian just kills himself and the island goes... Okay, most of your feelings on this finale are probably going to hinge in the last 15 minutes or so, because that's where nearly all the cool stuff happened. Most of the stuff before that was strangely underwhelming. Captain Boomerang is just there to betray them and get killed, so I feel like his part could have been played by pretty much anyone. Malcolm Merlyn's role isn't much bigger. It was kind of annoying how quickly they got rid of him, actually. He takes Thea's place on a landmine and then blows up Captain Boomerang, off-screen, of course. So I imagine he'll be back. I think John Barrowman's saying, "Yo, that's it for Malcolm Merlyn. He's dead, or he's gone from Arrow now." I don't believe it. They're not gonna kill him off-screen. Come on. I mean, I guess we're meant to think he's dead, but that scene doesn't have any emotional impact because it's, well, no body. So it's pretty obvious that they're going to bring him back somehow. And maybe they just didn't have John Barrowman for the whole shoot, so they had to write him out quickly. But I feel like we got cheated out of seeing him and Oliver and Slade all working together. You know, we got him and Oliver last week. But still, I feel a little misled here. Also noticeable in how little, how small of a role she played was Artemis. I'm kind of stunned that her storyline really didn't really go anywhere. She betrayed the team to Prometheus around mid-season. She had a glorified cameo later on, and then we didn't see her until the finale, where she does almost nothing. Gets quickly captured, and then presumably blown up with everybody else, with everything else. All told, her betrayal of Team Arrow went absolutely nowhere. I was really hoping they'd finally do something with that, but no, nothing. I feel like there was a really cool potential storyline here that the writers just kind of threw away. Then there's Slade Wilson. Now, I understand that there really wasn't time to get into this, but I was kind of stunned, not only at how quickly Slade agreed to help Oliver, but by how little tension there was between them. They worked together like old friends, like Slade never killed Oliver's mom. You know, Slade even gives him some good mentorly advice that seems genuine. He says, "Oh, but we're not leaving without the kid," and whatever. So he's acting like a good guy here. Now, I get they've got a complicated history, and the Mirakuru being on a Slade system changes things somewhat, but I feel like there were some pretty big shortcuts taken here in order to get these two on the same page. And, judging by the way Slade kept putting on the mask and taking it off in between scenes, I'm guessing they only had Manu Bennett for a limited number of days. So that's probably where the shortcuts came from. It doesn't really excuse the shortcuts there, though, unfortunately. But anyway, everything builds up to a fight in this temple that we never even knew was there. It was probably there so they could like repurpose the League of Assassins set instead of building a new one, I guess. But this felt really random. It's like, can't we just do this out in the forest? And we're on Leah and you again, and now we're in a fucking temple. It was odd. It's weird. So we've got Team Arrow versus Team Prometheus and and the League of Assassins, who once again go down like the complete bitches they've always been. We get Nissa versus Talia, which, unfortunately, is not as cool as it sounds, because we've barely seen Talia this whole season, and we haven't seen Nissa since, season 4? So, while not really a bad fight, despite some pretty obvious stunt doubles, it feels anticlimactic, like it was mostly there for fan service. Dinah versus Black Siren is better, and the dueling canary cries was cool, but again, it doesn't get much focus. It's just another fight in the middle of a bigger fight. And they don't do anything with Black Siren and Quentin at all. I thought there would be a scene with those two where he got her to feel conflicted about what she was doing, but there isn't. He knocks her unconscious, but they don't really interact at all. So there's another wasted opportunity there. So up until this point, I'm thinking, this isn't bad exactly, but I thought it was going to be a lot cooler than it's turning out to be. But everything after Adrian's team loses and he goes on the run is where the real meat is. That final scene on the boat is a great one. Adrian's going to kill William. Oliver may have to kill him to stop him, which would save William, but it would also set off the C4 charges he planted all over the island. It's a great dilemma. I wish the solution hadn't been as simple as Oliver just shooting to wound, but the scene still works. And I love Adrian here. Even though he's lost, he sacrifices himself, shooting himself in the head just to spit in Oliver's face one last time. That's the mark of a great villain. So Oliver saved William, but Leah and you is a fiery kill zone, and all of Oliver's friends and family, including William's mother, appear to be dead. Now, obviously they're not going to kill the entire supporting cast, so I guess they'll just say that they all got on that other plane in time or something. There's a pretty easy way out of this. Nevertheless, it's a pretty ballsy note to go out on. I just think it's going to feel like a cop-out if they all make it out of there next season. An explosion that big? I mean, someone's got to die. I'm sorry. And while I'm on the subject, how the hell did Adrian rig up that much C4 all over the entire island? That would have taken a whole lot of time and manpower. Where did he even get that much C4 anyway? I have no idea. Where is he getting all these resources? It's one of those things that you just have to kind of accept. You have to suspend your disbelief a little bit further. Thankfully, the rest of the episode is good enough that they can sort of get away with it. So, for most of the episode, I felt like this finale wasn't much better than average, thanks to a lot of cool characters and situations that were kind of wasted or not given the attention they needed, either due to lack of time, or too many other things going on, or maybe not having the actors for all the dates they needed them. But those last 10 or 15 minutes elevated it a good amount. Was it better than the Season 2 finale like Arrow's social media was saying? I don't think so. I think it's better than the finales for 3 and 4, but 2 and 1 are still the best in my opinion. Still a pretty good effort though. I think it suffered a bit from having so many characters in the mix that no one aside from Oliver got any real attention. So moments with the other characters that should have had more meaning felt a little disposable. But I think it did a good job of showing Oliver's character evolution, and for the most part it capped off the season in a pretty satisfying way. Not a perfect finale, but a pretty serviceable one, which is a good way to sum up this entire season as a whole, I think. Not perfect, but serviceable. Looks like Merlin is really dead. John Barrowman said this was his last season. Seems like a shame to throw a shame throw after everything getting taken down. Landmine. Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. This guy has had 9 lives up until this point, and to have his final appearance be getting killed by a landmine off screen in very unceremonious, unclimactic fashion, I don't believe it. I think they're just screwing with us. Kit Harington said he was really dead and he wasn't coming back to Game of Thrones. Well, he came back. It was all a ruse. So I don't believe John Barrowman's really gone. I don't buy it. Captain Boomerang, is he a different actor than the one from Suicide Squad? Yeah, different actor. Do you see similarities with Allie and Rosemary to Stina Gennarigo? No. I'm not sure where you're getting that from. Talia, Nissa, Shade, Slade, Samantha, and Curtis would be the ones least likely to make it. I say Curtis because I still think Paul is vigilante, and his death would play up that character in season 6. They're not going to kill Curtis. I highly doubt it. He's the token gay on the show. Everything's got to be so fucking PC these days. They're not going to kill the gay character. Also, if Paul is vigilante, you kind of want Curtis alive so you can get Curtis's reaction to Paul being the vigilante. And you can't do that if Curtis is dead. I think Samantha, since she's just a guest star, would be the most likely. Slade, possibly, since I guess they're going to be using Deathstroke in the new Batman movie. So they might have to kill him off because of whatever agreement there is with Warner Brothers. Which is the same reason why we can't get Deadshot back. Because they had to kill him off. So I think Slade is likely. Samantha's likely. I expected a little more from Talia and Nit versus Nissa and Siren versus Dynafights. Maybe if they had more time, it would have gone over better for me. Yeah, I agree. With Talia and Nissa, there wasn't really a lot of build-up since we really haven't seen much of either of them lately. Talia's made, 2 appearances in the whole season? 3? We haven't seen Nissa in a long time, so it's not like there was a ton of build-up for that. With Dinah and Black Siren, yeah, I wish there'd been more for that. Both kind of underwhelming, again, probably due to lack of time. I don't think they cared about Artemis and just added her to this season for fan service. It's kind of the way it played out, yeah. I thought they were going to do something like the Judas Contract storyline with her, but it just... Her entire storyline, honestly, you really could have just cut that out entirely. Okay, she betrayed the team to Prometheus, but it didn't really have any lasting consequences at all. And she didn't give Prometheus anything he didn't really already know. And then she basically disappears until the season finale where she's easily taken care of. It's like, well, why? Did they really need this? I don't think so. What's your take on TNA possibly putting the Impact World title on Shera to stick to WWE because they have Jinder Mahal as the champ? I don't think they would do that. No, I think I see where you're coming from. I don't think they would do it. I think they understand that Shera is not remotely ready to be a world champion. Neither is Jinder Mahal, for that matter. But WWE's brand awareness is strong enough that they can do that, and it's not going to kill them. TNA aren't really in a position to put the world title on a champion who has no credibility and the fans don't really believe in, just as something to appeal to fans in another country. They're not in a position where they can do that. I think it's far more likely that they'll be putting the X Division title on Sanjay Dutt, But Shira as a world champion? No. No, I think that would be a very unwise decision on Impact's part. They could release Slade at the beginning of Season 6 and make him the main villain in the Titans show. I don't think the Titans show is going to be in the Arrowverse. Also, my guess is if Slade is leaving, they're doing it because they don't want to have two Deathstrokes on TV and in the movies. Again, same reason why they killed off Deadshot. Because the movies want to use him. I look at this episode the same way I did with S.H.I.E.L.D., where it could have played better with back-to-back episodes. Yeah, maybe if they'd had like 2 episodes on Leah and you instead of just 1, I think there would have been time to get to all that stuff that we wanted to see. That were kind of shortened or truncated or whatever. Whereas the Flash goes, Tobin Bell was the reason I gave the Flash a shot this season as the voice of Savitar. He was good, but the intelligence of this season of the Flash was slightly more better than Gotham. Well, damning it with faint praise. Okay. Let's see. Thoughts and Arrow seasons are 2, then 5, then 1, then 3, then 4. 5 is the second best, really? I don't know. I think for me, it would probably be 2, then 1, then 5, then 4, then 3. Yeah, probably that. Gifted, Cloak and Dagger, Black Lightning, which could replace the Flash. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, Gifted looks kind of interesting. But I kind of have hard feelings against Fox right now because I really just want them to sell the rights to the X-Men back to Marvel, so Marvel will stop treating the X-Men like shit. So I don't know if I'll check out Gifted. I do think the trailer looked kind of cool though. Cloak and Dagger, it's on Freeform, which I guess is like the new ABC Family. So I'm not entirely confident that the show is going to be good if it's on what used to be ABC Family. Black Lightning doesn't really interest me that much. Just, I don't know. Another Berlanti creation, I think, isn't it? I'm kind of weary of Berlanti-led superhero vehicles now. So who knows? You do streams for Wonder Woman, Spider-Man, Homecoming, and the Defenders. I'll talk about them, certainly. I think I'll probably do one for the Defenders, at least. With Slade, they hinted at his son, Joe Wilson, a.k.a. Jericho. Since Jeff Johns took that DCU over, they have been more okay with characters appearing in the TV verse. So we're in a superhero. Okay. If anyone dies, it'll probably be Samantha. Everyone else will live, probably with some injuries. Yeah, Samantha's probably most likely, I think. The C4 could have been planted by some of his team members. I predict they will kill someone off. Yeah, well, still, that's a hell of a lot of C4 on a pretty big island. I'm just saying, it's a pretty fucking big task. And... Alright, I'll give it another minute or two. Because I actually have to go out in a little bit, so kind of have to wrap this up. Glad the stream is holding up this time. No buffering problems now. Good. Okay, well, seems like that's about it. So, I do have to go out and do some stuff, so might as well just call it a day at this point. And with that, the third season of the Comic Show Post Show has come to a close. And thank God for that, because this season of The Flash almost killed me. I don't know about you guys, but I am looking forward to having a break from that show. But before I go, I need to level with you guys about something. I've been doing this for 3 TV seasons now. And I've enjoyed doing it because I like reviewing stuff, but it has taken up a lot more of my time than I ever thought it would. When I first started doing this, I just did it. I did it because I wanted to talk about my favorite show with other fans, and it wasn't really intended to be a huge thing that would take up a lot of my life. It would just be something fun to do once a week. But then I started talking about a bunch of other shows. At one point I was reviewing like 5 shows a week because I thought you guys would enjoy that, and I thought it might attract more viewers that way. And that, didn't really happen. I mean, you guys always show up, but viewership has pretty much stayed the same. It's always been small. And as much fun as it's been, the audience for the show has kind of stayed the same, always been small, and I'm at a point now where I feel like something needs to change with that, because if the audience isn't growing, then I'm just spinning my wheels. Because while I do enjoy reviewing shows, the novelty of doing it this way has been wearing off for me. Because if I hadn't been reviewing it for this live stream, I would have dropped The Flash like a bad habit a long time ago. Yeah, I've started to dread every time Tuesday comes around because it means I have to watch The Flash, which I just can't fucking stand at this point. And to be honest, my enthusiasm for Arrow isn't really what it used to be either. And I'd kind of like to put that show in the category of shows where I wait for the whole season to air, then just binge watch it over 2 or 3 weeks and move on with my life. And I was willing to continue putting in the time of watching these shows and reviewing them week to week, but if my audience isn't growing and I'm not enjoying the process like I used to, I feel like my time could be better spent. I want to continue doing this, but if I'm sticking with it, I want to make the reviews bigger and better. I want to change things up, and I want to grow my audience and get to a place where I can hopefully make a little money doing this. I know that the adpocalypse is still a thing, but I know it's not impossible. But for that, I need more views than I get. I need to start making some kind of progress here, basically. Otherwise, what am I doing it for? So, having said all that, I feel like the time has come for this show to become something else. And I'm not ready to talk about exactly what that means just yet, but when I am, I'll let you guys know. I'll hopefully have an announcement about that sometime this summer. In the meantime, I'm still reviewing Impact every week, so please keep tuning in for that every Saturday, unless I have to push it to a different day because of work reasons. And I will talk to you guys very soon. So thanks for tuning in. Over. Out.